Hey guys, welcome to another quick update on the boat. I haven't had that much time this week, but yeah, I got a few things done. First of all, I finally was able to move my generator on board. I was still in another workshop. We don't really have a crane at the moment that works, so luckily last night the deck was exactly the same height as land, so therefore I could just drive it on board with a forklift. But it is also the first time that both engines are together, and you can see that my main engine has been standing on deck for more than 3/4 of a year already, and it's starting to rust again because I ran out of paint when I was painting it as well. So before that goes into the boat, at some point I need to pressure wash it and give it some more paint. But yeah, that's my generator and my main engine. That's a Mitsubishi K3D. That's a Perkins 6.354. Yeah, so that's a 6-cylinder, that's a 3-cylinder. Yeah, and I call this one Laurel, and that one is called Hardy. So I went through some scrap bins and found some more stuff. I found this nice pipe. Not sure what I want to use it for. Maybe I'll cut it in some sections and cast it in beton. Or at least if I pour beton ballast, I would have this go in it with a steel bottom in it, so then I can have a bilge pump that goes. So if the ballast in the boat, like if this is the bottom plating of the boat and you would fill it up with beton and this is empty, then this would be the lowest point and I could have a pump in here. And I found some pieces of ballast back there as well, some thick stuff. Yeah, so on the boat I've done a few things, not terribly exciting. So I've been doing some painting in the engine room. I won't show you that. But I installed a new gas spring on there. I had some gas springs before from a scrapyard from a Hyundai Wagon R, and they look quite strong, but they just broke really quickly. So luckily I have a really nice neighbor back at my parents' place who had 5 of these. I think they're almost 120 kilos to compress them. So I put one of those on, and it seems to work really well. Yeah, what else have I been doing? I've been I made a hole in the boat. Yeah, so this is gonna be another entrance into the room below. I think it's called the Companionway. Yeah, get a flashlight at this one. Basically, I want, if you see the front there is the watertight door that goes into the front peak, and then pretty much this is one big room, which is going to be a living room. And besides the engine room, there's still these 2 narrow tanks that are connected to that main room, and one of them is maybe going to be like a guest bedroom, and the other one might be a toilet or something. I'm not quite sure yet, but at least I want for every room 2 ways out in case of fire. So I cut out this hole, and my plan is that I'll weld up a box here with a nice piece of quarter pipe to make it round. That will go across, and then you can see on the little drawing here. So if you look on the top of the boat, this is the hole I cut. This is the engine room. So I'll make a hatch with some windows that folds open this way, so it will fold onto this side of the wall, and then we could have a ladder down here so you can go in and out of the boat from this way as well. And I'll probably cut out and put a porthole in there. So all this steel is something that I've welded on 2 years ago, I think. So I cut everything off the deck and put this new up. So I started off the day doing what I dislike the most in this whole boat building process. That's cutting off old welds from stringers, because all this plating came from a pontoon. All this red painted steel is recycled. So I was cutting it out with a plasma cutter and had to remove all the old stringers. So every 1.5 meters, there's still old welds. And all the other plating, I have cut it off beforehand. But when I wanted to install this, I ran out of grinding disc, so I just cut it out and wanted to remove it later. It is so annoying. Here's, well, this was all welds that had to get cut off. And then there was an old bollard here, a little box. And actually, I can show you, I found something quite cool in there. So there was a box here, and I actually found a coin that was laying in it. Let me turn this around. It's a Danish coin from 1962. It's 2 øre, so it's worth nothing. But I think normally you put a coin under a ship's mast when you're building it. Well, here they decided to put it in the port side pullet or bollard. So I have to make sure to weld that back in somewhere. Yeah, so maybe I'll show you how Omala is kind of built on the inside. So this is the port side fuel tank that goes all the way to the front bulkhead, and after that bulkhead it's the front peak. As you can see here, it is one very narrow tank, and on the other side, of course, there's a symmetrical tank, but there I have already removed that bulkhead right there, so you can go from this tank into the central tank. Yeah, I haven't done that yet, and it will happen. So also I will cut out part of this baffle, making sure that there's still enough material left for strength. But yeah, I think she has angle iron frames about, what is it, 40 centimeters on center. And in the front it's 20 centimeters on center, so in the bow. Then there's a lot of these horizontal stiffeners that go the whole length of the boat. And this is 6mm plating. Then it goes down to this curve here. Here the curve is 8, and then this is 8, and down there it becomes 10. And of course, most of the corrosion you get in these boats is when, well, this used to be full of diesel, and there's always water you get in your diesel tanks. So the bottom area, you get some slight pitting and corrosion. But I've had these tanks empty before. This is just some rainwater. And it's minimal, so the inside actually looks pretty good on these tanks. And also my what normally, like the other boats I've worked on for customers and stuff, I think a good indication to see how bad the corrosion is inside a boat, I always look at the spanta or the stringers, and if they have become very thin, well then you of course bet your money on it that the hull or the skin has done the same thing. But what I see here on Omala, I have lost 0 thickness on all these frames. There's a lot of rust, but that's all superficial. Because I mean, these tanks have never been sandblasted. It still has the mill scale on most of it. So there's of course rust laying on top here, but that's just dust. And all of this still seems to check out as 6mm, which I'm really happy for. And also, if you see the steel here and the welds, they actually look really nice. But yeah, it's dirty. So yeah, that's the inside of this tank. I had a lot of trouble going through that hole this morning. I inspected the whole boat before I bought it, and I could fit through it much easier than I do now. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm definitely not getting any lighter. Yeah, so yeah, that's my idea for the Companionway here. If you guys have any good suggestions on how to make this even safer or in a different way, please drop a comment below. I had the idea originally, I haven't made it, but sometimes on sailboats or you see a door that goes around the corner, so it lifts up all the way, so you would have a cutout here, so it would be easier to get in. I'm not sure if that's really feasible or I even need that. But yeah, here you can also see the thickness of the deck. It always looks much worse than it really is with all the shit I'm laying on top, but it's still, yeah. I think it was built in 8, because it's like, it's definitely not 6 millimeters. It's either 7 or it's 8. I'm happy. Yeah, so that's it for this video, and we're gonna clean up some more and yeah, start seeing what materials I've laying to make this box out of. Hey.